What if the deadliest battle in Stalingrad came down to two snipers hunting each other in total silence?
At first light, the ruined city looked frozen in time, but every soldier knew the silence was a trap. Sergeant Cole Maddox pressed himself into the cold rubble, watching enemy boots crunch toward the crossroads. One mistake, one sound, and his entire squad would be wiped out. His breath shook as dust drifted from a sniper's perch high above. Someone was up there, watching him, tracking him, waiting for him to raise his rifle. But was an enemy sniper, or something far more deadly hiding in the broken skyline. The fog thickened as Sergeant Maddox crawled deeper into the ruins. Every step measured, every heartbeat loud. He could feel the sniper's gaze still locked on him, calculating, patient, deadly. But the enemy patrol was closing fast, boots scraping over broken stone. Trapped between a ghost and the tower and steel at his back, Maddox had one chance to survive. He steadied his rifle, scanning the fog, when a faint glint flashed from the tower's edge. A signal? A threat? Or the sniper preparing to fire the first shot of a deadly duel? The world narrowed to a single breath. Maddox steadied his rifle, lining the barrel toward the tower's shadowed opening. The sniper hadn't fired yet, which meant he was waiting for the perfect moment. A clean kill, a single bullet to erase an American soldier from the fight. The patrol behind Maddox grew louder, weapons clattering through the smoke-filled street. He had seconds, maybe less. Then the tower flashed. A spark, a muzzle flicker. The sniper had finally chosen his target. But was it Maddox or someone else entirely waiting in the fog? The sniper's shot tore through the air. Maddox felt the wind shift beside his face as the bullet shattered brick behind him. He rolled into thicker smoke, chest heaving, ears ringing. The enemy patrol broke into a sprint, shouting commands as they lost sight of him. Maddox knew he had one advantage left: the smoke. It hid him, but it hid the sniper too. Crawling low, he listened for the faintest sound, the smallest click, anything that could reveal the ghost perched above. Then he heard it, metal sliding, a rifle bolt being pulled back. The sniper was reloading, preparing his second shot. Hidden in the smoke, Maddox pressed his back against the rubble and slowed his breathing. The sniper's reload echoed faintly from above, too calm, too controlled. This wasn't a rookie, this was a professional. Maddox scanned the upper floors through shifting fog when he spotted something strange, a small flicker of light, flashing twice from the tower window. A signal. But to who? The patrol? Another sniper? Or was the ghost on the tower communicating with someone behind the American lines? Maddox tightened his grip. Something far bigger than a single duel was happening here. Maddox shifted through the smoke, inch by inch, trying to get a clearer angle on the tower. But then the silhouette inside moved. Not a normal reposition. This was slow, controlled, almost deliberate. The sniper wasn't just relocating. He was stalking. Maddox felt a chill crawl up his spine as the figure slid out of view, replaced by an empty black window. The enemy patrol's footsteps drew closer behind him. Two threats. No cover. And now the sniper was somewhere inside that tower, silent, calculating and hunting him from the shadows. Maddox whispered to himself. Where the hell did he go? Maddox sprinted through the smoke and slid behind a collapsed tram car, eyes locked on the tower entrance. If the sniper had moved, there was only one place he could be going: down. The thought tightened Maddox's chest. A sniper abandoning the high ground meant something was wrong, something urgent. He pushed forward, stepping into the tower's darkened base. Cold air, thick dust, and total silence. No footprints, no shell casings, no sign of anyone ever being there. But the shot had come from this tower. He knew it, and then something creaked above him. Maddox froze beneath the staircase, every muscle locked. The creak echoed again, slow, dragging, like someone placing their weight carefully, step by step. He raised his rifle toward the upper shadows, pulse hammering in his ears. Whoever was up there wasn't rushing. They were descending with purpose, confidence, precision. Dust fell from the beams above him, drifting across a faint glimmer of metal. a rifle barrel, or a trap, Maddox steadied his breathing. The sniper wasn't running. He was coming down to finish the kill personally. And Maddox had only seconds before their paths collided. Maddox's finger hovered over the trigger as the shadow moved closer. The enemy was deliberate, silent, professional. Every step down the stairs was a heartbeat of death. Maddox tightened his grip, trying to calm the rising panic, when a loose beam above him groaned. The sniper froze. And in that frozen second, Maddox made his choice, one shot, one chance, and the duel would begin. The air itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the first bullet to fly. And then it did, piercing the silence like thunder. The shot rang out, echoing through the ruined tower and empty streets beyond. Maddox felt the recoil in his arms, eyes narrowing as he scanned the shadows. The sniper had flinched just enough, but the duel was far from over. From above, a second shot cut through the air, grazing plaster and stone beside him. Dust exploded around Maddox, blinding him for a heartbeat. He dropped low, every nerve screaming, knowing that each second counted. Somewhere in that darkness, the enemy waited, patient, lethal, and hungry for the kill. Maddox pressed deeper into the tower's shadows, each step measured, every creak of rubble a potential death sentence. Outside, the enemy patrol edged closer, oblivious to the deadly duel unfolding above. Maddox's heart pounded like artillery fire, but he forced himself to focus. One wrong move and both the patrol and the sniper would end him. Every inch gained felt like a mile, every breath a gamble. And then from the corner of his eye, a shadow shifted. Faster than it should, a silent warning that someone or something was already inside the floor above him. Maddox froze as a glint of steel caught his eye in the corner of the shattered tower window. The sniper wasn't just above him. He had shifted, finding a new perch, hidden yet perfectly in line with Maddox's path. Every step Maddox took could trigger a bullet. Every breath could give him away. He gritted his teeth, forcing calm as he inched forward, knowing one misstep meant instant death. And then the sniper's gaze locked on him, a predator sizing up his prey. Maddox felt the weight of history and duty on his shoulders. Survive, strike, and protect the men outside who had no idea what was coming. Maddox exhaled slowly, tightening his trigger finger as the sniper above adjusted his aim. The first shot rang out, ricocheting off stone and sending shards into the smoke-choked air. Maddox ducked instinctively, heart hammering in his chest. He returned fire, each pull of the trigger a mix of precision and prayer. The tower seemed to shake with the echoes of their duel, every wall, every corner a potential death trap. And then silence fell, almost unnatural, as if the city itself were holding its breath, waiting to see who would blink first. The duel had drawn closer. Maddox climbed the winding tower stairs, every step a test of nerves, dust and debris falling with each careful footfall. The sniper's movements echoed faintly above him, methodical, deliberate, calculating. Maddox's chest burned as he forced himself upward, knowing he was heading into the heart of danger. One wrong step, one glance, and he'd be history. But he couldn't stop, not when the men outside depended on him. And then he reached the landing and saw the shadowy form of the enemy waiting, rifle poised, ready for the next deadly exchange. Maddox reached the upper landing and froze. The sniper was there, perfectly still, blending into the broken stone and shadows, a predator waiting in the heart of the storm. Every muscle in Maddox's body screamed to move, but he held his ground. He knew one rash action would mean instant death. The city outside seemed to vanish. Only the two of them existed in that fragile, tense moment. He exhaled slowly, finger on the trigger, ready for the inevitable. And then, the sniper's eyes locked on his, unblinking, and the duel entered its most dangerous phase. Time slowed as Maddox and the sniper faced each other across the ruined landing. Every second stretched, every heartbeat deafening. The enemy's shadow shifted slightly, a subtle motion that could have been fatal. Maddox's finger tightened on the trigger, mind racing through every possible outcome. Outside, distant artillery boomed, a reminder of the larger battle raging beyond these walls. Yet here, in the shadow of the tower, it was just two soldiers, a deadly silence, and the invisible threads of fate pulling them toward a single, inevitable clash. Maddox whispered under his breath, "This ends now." Maddox's lungs burned as he held his position, each breath a risk. The sniper above mirrored his focus, unblinking, patient, waiting for the slightest misstep. Dust fell from the ceiling with every distant explosion outside, but inside the tower, time had stopped. Maddox's heart slammed against his ribs as he felt the invisible line between life and death thin to a razor's edge. And then, a faint twitch, a flicker in the sniper scope, told him the shot was coming. Maddox inhaled one final, deliberate breath, ready to face whatever would follow. Everything went silent for a heartbeat. Maddox's fingers squeezed the trigger as the sniper scope aligned. The shot rang out, echoing through shattered stone and empty streets, a single bullet cutting through the tension. Maddox felt the impact in his arms, but instinct drove him forward, rolling behind a wall of rubble. Outside, distant artillery thundered, but here it was just him and the shadowed enemy. He knew this was a climax, the point where training, courage, and fate collided. And as he prepared for the next move, he realized survival wasn't just skill, it was will. Maddox pressed himself against the crumbling wall, heart hammering, every nerve screaming. The sniper above had paused, almost as if sensing the resolve in Maddox's eyes. Outside, the distant battle roared, but inside the tower, the world had shrunk to a single moment. Life, death, and the choices that bridged them. Maddox inched closer, one careful step at a time, ready to end the duel or die trying. The shadow above shifted once more, and he knew the final confrontation was inevitable. Fate hung over them like a storm, waiting to strike. The silence shattered. Maddox's shot rang true, the sniper collapsing against the rubble as dust and smoke filled the ruined tower. Maddox sank to one knee, chest heaving, adrenaline still coursing through every vein. Outside, the distant artillery faded into dawn, a new day breaking over a battered city. He had survived, but at a cost he could never forget. As he looked over the shattered streets, he felt the weight of every brother who had fought and fallen. This was their victory, their courage, and their story, one that would echo far beyond the battlefield. Subscribe for more USA war stories, where courage, sacrifice, and heroism are remembered. Hit the bell to witness the untold tales of bravery on the battlefield.